Over the course of nearly a decade, From Software's franchise Dark Souls has become many things for its dedicated fans. An experience to share with others, an adventure to tackle alone, and even an experiment to raise the perceived ceiling of a player's ability. On my livestream, I get asked on a regular basis, which game is the most difficult? I'm going to be straight up before you watch the rest of this video. There is no single definitive way to rank the difficulty or compare in my eyes. This is going to be an analysis of base mechanics that are alike, which differ, and which do not. Although there is not a huge amount of difference, some of the things definitely get underlooked. Quick disclaimer, I don't include parrying as I feel it's not essential and a bit more advanced than these other categories. There may be other things missing like magic and projectile combat, but I don't believe those best represent my points here. Now let's look at some of the best mechanical advantages or disadvantages as the series expanded. As always, I would love to hear which game you had the hardest time playing through originally, for speedruns or for challenges, so leave a comment below. Estus consumption. First, we will compare the speeds of Estus across all three games. Dark Souls 1 seems to have the longest animation. Dark Souls 1 and 2, however, do not let you drink Estus in motion. Dark Souls 2 does feature life gems, and you can use them in motion, but with less availability or increased cost to obtain. Despite the rate of HP regen, from a mechanical standpoint, DS3 Estus is objectively more accessible. Humanities, Effigies, and Embers. Humanities heal full health and are quick to pop in Dark Souls 1, but require a bonfire to become human. Upon becoming human, you may kindle increasing Estus quantity, but you need a key item that's usually obtained mid-game from the boss pinwheel. Dark Souls 2 Effigies don't replenish health that's missing from the total bar, but rather replenish the bar's maximum health back to normal from the hollowed deficit. Dark Souls 3 Embers do increase any health lost, but require you to be unembered, meaning they can't be spammed for health at any time. I give Dark Souls 1 the best humanity item system as it doubles as a heal. Resins. Using buffs is the same in each game. Your movement is restricted and the casting time is similar. There was a modification finally made to this mechanic seen in Dark Souls 3 with the addition of bundles, where you can run and buff at the same time and get slightly more damage and trade for a shorter buff timer. This makes Dark Souls 3 overall the best game for basic buff mechanics. Equip loads rolling. You will notice once going past 30% mark for rolling mechanics, you end up getting slower on each game. At 100%, you become extremely slow and cannot roll. All three are fairly even for these animations, although Dark Souls 1 has very low invulnerability frames, while fat rolling in my experience. Dark Souls 2's effectiveness of rolling is gated behind the adaptability stat, which needs to be roughly around 32 to surpass the invulnerability already granted from the other games. Dark Souls 1 also is locked to 4-way roll, while the other two games are 8-way rolling while targeting an enemy. This makes the need for free camera control or unlock gameplay greater than its sequels. Dark Souls 2 and 3 allow you to sprint while locked on, making them superior in the mobility department. We're going to get to where Dark Souls 3 balances this ease of control with difficulty later. Ladders. Dark Souls 1 unfortunately has not yet invented the quick climb for ladders. The slide was still there, but no way to quick climb. DS2 ended up implementing this mechanic years later, and we saw its return again in Dark Souls 3. This makes escaping enemies a little easier and is a nice quality of life feature. Sliding down ladders is about the same speed across the board. Hand stances. You won't be able to two-hand an offhand weapon in Dark Souls 1, but you can in 2 and 3. 3 other unique combat mechanics were added down the road as well. We're talking about power stancing, weapon arts, and charged heavy attacks. Dark Souls 2 power stancing allows you to combine the damage and moveset of 2 weapons. Unfortunately, it didn't appear in the final title of the series. Weapon arts are basically bonus attacks unique to different weapon classes or special weapons. Charged heavy attacks come into play when Bloodborne released as one of the 2 ways to get a critical attack, and in Dark Souls 3 they can be used for staggering combos. None of these mechanics have extreme influence on difficulty or accessibility for first playthroughs or challenge runs in my opinion, but can help in specific situations. Boss fights. Boss fights in Dark Souls have definitely changed over the course of years. Here you see Dragonslayer Ornstein and Executioner Smo, one of the hardest bosses in the series. While they didn't have an absurd library of attacks and were reasonably paced, the combination of their complementary playstyle made for some devastating combos and overwhelming pressure, even for a 2011 game. The part of this discussion that outlined movement and rolling while locked on shows its limitations in this fight. You are much better off not permanently locking the camera on these guys, as visibility, accessibility, and mobility greatly can decrease. Jump to Dark Souls 2. Throne Watcher and Defender, while much more simplistic than Ornstein and Smo, are one of the scarier fights in the main game. The key difference with difficulty here is that you can fall into a pit all around the outside of the arena, and while the enemies are a tad slower and less fancy than some other duo bosses, there's no environmental barriers to delay their pursuit. This is a sneaky way of increasing difficulty without really making the enemies that complicated. Dark Souls 2 had some incredibly well-made bosses and some others that are infamous for artificial difficulty. Now remember where I said Dark Souls 3 would atone for its ease of use and provide difficulty elsewhere? Enemies of most kind put much more emphasis on complex attack combinations, and some bosses can even auto-read your inputs like healing. Soul of Cinder is a great example of a boss that is superior, aggressive, and quick compared to some of its older counterparts. The thing even has well over 10,000 HP, making it quite a battle. Because Dark Souls 3 is easier to physically control than the other two games, the difficulty of the enemies is met with a fair set of tools at your disposal. While it's still much more flashy and seemingly fast-paced, its quality of life features don't make it that much more challenging. Conclusion. Before we wrap up, I wanted to include every basic category Dark Souls 2 suffers at the tail end of the video, other than rolling, which we talked about earlier. Although all these animations look very similar, anything involving opening a door, chest, or entering a fog gate is immediately safer in the first and third game. In the second, you basically get invulnerability a tiny bit before the animation is complete, making enemy evasion on challenges and speedruns super tricky. As a side note to this video, I want to mention that one of the leading VPNs, NordVPN, offered to partner with this video, and as an existing active customer of theirs, I can't say enough good things. If you aren't familiar with what a virtual private network does, I recommend doing some research, but basically you can change your virtual location to anywhere in the world while keeping your data safe and secure. This can be very useful to watch your favorite Netflix shows that aren't available in your country, or other media deemed inaccessible due to international barriers. The number one reason I love Nord is because it helps protect your information while working, in your personal life, or even when you're traveling. Better yet, with one subscription, you can cover multiple devices, and the setup is really just a couple clicks or taps. Their network uses double encryption and does not collect your data. Just a couple more reasons that make it the best value for speed of service and peace of mind. As someone that also live streams often, I find their desktop app is a great addition to my overall setup. Right now you can get 70% off a 2-year plan plus 1 month free using code Squilla or my referral link in the video description. Alright, here's my conclusion. For a first playthrough, I think the navigation of Dark Souls 1 alone will be harder than some of the combat once you get the hang of things, and the sheer volume of content in 2 will take you the longest to complete, making Dark Souls 3 the most simplistic to run through with the most complicated enemy designs. When we look at how accessible each game's basic mechanics are for challenge runs or speed runs, there's not too much of a gap between overall difficulty in most cases. For all of these reasons, combined with the experience I've gained over the years, I feel there is no hardest game in the trilogy. If you've never seen a speedrun and or challenge run like Zero Damage for example, I encourage you to check out my other videos to get a feel of the differences you may find advantage or disadvantage in from a more technical point of view. Let me know in the comments below which game of the 3 you had the hardest time on for the first time, and if you happen to do any sort of special runs, which was the hardest run of those for you. If you did like this video, make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss new content, and as always, take care.